How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to talk about some issues with POV street photography. So let's jump right into it. As you know, I do quite a bit of POV street photography videos, and there's been an issue that I've seen arise more often lately. The problem is the comments that people leave under my videos when it comes down to street photography, them not understanding it, and understanding what being in public is like. So here in the US, for the most part, in most countries, there is basically that you give up your right of privacy when you're out in public. Every country has a little bit of deviations with it, but for the most part, kind of everybody goes that if you're out in public, you give away basically your rights to privacy. So essentially, if somebody's taking photos and you're out there in the frame without you kind of noticing that you are in the frame or not, well, it's kind of fair game. I do get a lot of videos where people are like, hey, you know what, you're taking photos of people without their permission, you're doing this, you're doing that, and kind of because, well, I guess they just don't understand what street photography is. For me, street photography is just documenting just people doing their everyday thing, whether it's something very intriguing, maybe reading a newspaper, just hanging out and experiencing the atmosphere, as well as just any composition that I find amusing that I think would be kind of cool to capture somebody doing. Now, a lot of people don't understand the concept of being out in public and what it means to be in public with basically giving up their rights to privacy. And a lot of people just start commenting on it that's saying like, hey, you should have asked for their permission or anything like that, that in reality, in theory, would be nice, but I don't have to. And not because I don't want to have to ask them, but in reality, if I'm out and about shooting, it's hard to flag down every single person that you're taking photos. And sometimes you take photos without really realizing it's the subject being in the frame. And I'm not gonna go ahead and try to flag them down. Now, there are some, I guess, moral reasons to take photos and not of certain people. And that's something that I wanna kind of cover base as well to maybe help people understand the whole point of the issues with street photography. For example, I'm not really keen on people going out and just smashing a photo right in their face, kind of like invading that, you know, privacy in the sense of their own personal space, because in reality, that's when it comes a little bit, you know, lack of a better way to put it, an asshole. And if you're gonna be that person, chances are you're probably gonna get your face erect, and that's all on you. That's the beauty about being out in public. If you're gonna invade somebody's, you know, personal space, you're probably gonna get some, you know, outcome that you might not want either. But one of the other things that I really don't think that is good to people to do is to take photos of people in such a need that it just kind of invades as well their dignity. For example, I'm not going to go up to a person that is homeless perhaps, and then they're just hanging out there and take a photo of them doing something distressful or something like that. But if I want to get a photo of them, I can ask them directly, be like, hey, would you mind if I take a photo of you? Here's a couple extra dollars that I might have lying around me just to, you know, compensate them for their time, since in reality, it's not really taking much away from me and it's not taking much away from them, but it's kind of like a mutual beneficial kind of thing. Another thing that I discussed with even friends of mine whenever I kind of brought this up in, you know, Twitter and everything like that was, well, taking photos of children. In reality, for me, taking photos of just children, like just focusing on them directly, seems a little bit odd when it comes on to it. So obviously something that you don't want to, you know, invade that privacy, because in reality, children have no option into that aspect. Once you're an adult, you have more, you know, options to, you know, be out and about or not. When you're a child, you kind of get dragged into it. So I know a lot of the issues is it comes down to whether you want to take photos of, you know, that kind of aspects of the innocence of children or anything like that. And for me, how I view it is maybe you take the photos of the subject with a mom and a daughter or a kid or something like that, but I try never to show the faces of children or the people in general. Most of my street photography photos, I tend to try to do like a certain angle that it hides most of their identity for the mystery part of it. Sometimes here and there, I might do one where like it shows faces or anything like that, but it just depends on the situation where I know that it might not be so intrusive, especially if I'm out and about with my like Tamron 35 to 150, I can be out farther away and it doesn't affect the photo to, in a sense, to like have them aware of my surroundings, if that makes sense. But obviously a lot of the issues that people kind of comment on my videos or even other people's videos is just saying how thoughtless, how rude, how this, how that, you're invading people's privacies and everything. But the main issue about street photography is that there really isn't any privacy. You're in public. And the moment that people realize that and understand it, you kind of have to understand that, you know, you're kind of subject for it. If somebody takes a photo of me while I'm out and about, I can't get mad about it because I chose to be out in public. So it's like saying like, hey, to the security cameras of anywhere else, don't take photos of me at the traffic light. Hey, don't take a video of me because you're invading my privacy. But That's why we have certain laws here, at least in the US and everything, that if you go out, anybody can take a video or photo of you because you gave up that right to privacy. For example, in Mexico, it depends on where you're at least. Whenever I go to my hometown, I know some people are not like super wanting to take photos for basically monetizing or anything like that of if you can see the subject's face. I know in Germany, they're not really big on showing the people's face. Like if you're taking a photo within the frame going that way and somebody walks upon it, well, that was fair game. It's kind of like you were waiting there and they decided to cross your path without, you know, minding their way around it or something like that. So that's kind of like a thing that we have to consider when it comes down to the issues with street photography, is understanding that we're not doing it just because we want to invade people's privacies, but it's because we're creating art out and about into society and the public. We're not invading people's, you know, right to be outside. Is we're being outside with them and creating. So that's the main thing that I would hope people understand. And it might be a little bit harder for some people to understand when they're not a creative person. And that's probably why they comment on certain videos about it. But that's just my take. But hopefully it just makes you understand that when people go out to do street photography, they're not trying to invade anybody's space. If they are choosing to go up to you and invade your space and you've told them to back off, that's a different scenario. I know I see a lot of videos, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever kind of content like that, where the person goes up to the girl and say, hey, I love your outfit. Can I take some photos of you and everything? But even if they're staged or not, at least they're asking for consent. They're not just going like, hey, I love your outfit from afar and then just taking photos of you and then kind of, I don't know, being like creep about it. Like for me, I don't focus on the person. I focus on what's happening to make it intriguing or whatever. Maybe their outfit, in a sense, like they had a hat. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not focused on like, oh, was that person really good looking? Let me take a photo of them or something like that, where people kind of seem to associate that with that, because I'm guessing they probably do that, because the only time I see people comment the hateful things is because they know that that has either happened because they did it, or they have seen somebody they know who has done it and they think that everybody does it. So if the shoe fits for you, bud, that's all on you. But that doesn't mean that everybody that does street photography does that. Hopefully that clears up any, issues on that aspect of street photography. So I kind of want to bring it down to you guys. What is your view on street photography? Is it an invasion of privacy? Is it an issue when it comes down to creating out and about in public, that you think it affects people and that people shouldn't really be doing it? What's your thought? And let me know down below, because I would love to see what other people think about it. Have a discussion, keep it civil, of course. And that way we can have some nice clarification when it comes down to street photography. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video if I don't catch you guys in the next one. See ya.